Hey, Futurist Gamer here. So, today's subject is death. According to PBS, the number of humans who have ever lived on Earth was 107.6 billion. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll have learned that most people who live now, anybody who is going to live to the year 2035 is not going to die of old age. So subtract the 5 billion-ish people who are going to hit longevity escape velocity and take that from the number of people ever born, and you end up with 102.6 people who've ever died or will die. That's an enormous amount. No other disease can ever say that they did that. 100 billion human lives were lost that we could have cured. We can cure age. We are on the brink of it now. I could grow you a new functioning limb without any chance of rejection, with a chemical in shampoo, a single blood cell, and whatever organ you needed from a pig. And I could grow you a fully functioning and never rejected organ for you. It's not a complicated thing. They just needed to focus on this. We are now, because we know that we can do this. We've done this in mice, and that exploded the entire possibility. They're not immortal, but they are incredibly longer lifespan, and we can do this too. We know we can do this, and so we will. But they didn't. That 102 billion people who died ever, we don't know who they are. But no one after this point, after 2035, will ever have to die. Why are we just... This needs to be known. Death is a disease. Death is not necessary. Death is a taker. Age is a disease. It is not. It is a series of processes that we all go through, but it is a disease that kills you. We try and cure cancer. We try and cure the cold. We try and cure this, and we try and cure that, but if we don't cure age, it doesn't matter. These things will kill you prematurely, but age is what sets the deadline at the end. The greatest thing that will cure the most people was age. And we are going to hit that. No one after this point needs to die. The globe needs to pray for all of this. I'm not religious, but something needs to be said. Everyone needs to acknowledge that these people lived and these people died. Soldiers fighting in the war, villagers in the Great Pestilence, anyone who had died of old age ever, your grandparents probably, your great-grandparents probably no longer are alive. They died to this disease we call age. We cannot accept this lying down. We need to fight it, and they are. At this point, once you realize this, you get sad. Because you realize we could have stopped this. 102.6 billion human lives did not need to die. But they did. Old age is the Great Plague. It has haunted us throughout all our lives, throughout all mankind's lives. Countless have died. And we are on the brink of curing it. We need to acknowledge this fact. At this point, it just makes me sad. These people didn't need to die. I could have lengthened their ages personally by significant amounts. A doctor, a gerontologist, could have easily made them live when they would only live to the age of 27 to live to almost 100. And if they got to that point, if they were now, any of these minds focusing on it would live forever. We can't take this lying down. This little stretch of time is ours, but it is not all of ours. If we hit this, is the difference between our lives being unnoticed, tiny little speck on the dot of existence, to us being enormous people, spreading across the world, across the galaxy, across the universe, and possibly further. We could be so much more once we are cut from the bind of death. I'm sorry I'm being emotional in this one, but it's incredible that no one seems to realize this. These people didn't need to die. They died because we didn't have enough scientists back then who realized that death was a disease. Death was caused by diseases, and so was ages among them. You aren't set in a deadline because of your age. They were back then because of sickness. And now, our age is a sickness. And that is the deadline, because everyone is infected at birth. And after you hit your prime, you start degrading. Further and further. This is not a feat that we have to live with for the millennia, every generation dying again and again and again and again and again. This is not something that needs to be done. It's a stepping stone in the true evolution of sentient beings. Any sentient being would want to live forever, and every sentient being can. Every one of you out here listening, unless you intend on dying in the next 20 years, and if any of you are exceptionally old or sick or not very healthy, and you don't think you're ever going to be able to make that, I'd say I'd be sad, but you cannot give in. You can look up these ways. There are many ways to live longer. You don't need much longer. There are ways you can increase your lives by almost upwards of 40 years. At this point, all you need is 20. Don't curl up and die if your estimated lifespan doesn't hit there. You don't just say, oh no, I can't do that. You fight. We're human beings. We are strong for the fact that we are willed. We are strong-willed. We fight. And you can fight this too if you are at this age or unhealthy. You must. I say that I'll see you all. And once society gets integrated enough, I will within the next decade. Once we integrate into our minds, I'll know you all as a personal friend within 20 years. I will know every last one of you on the planet by the end of the century, as if you were my own family. I view all of mankind, potentially, as close to me as my family. I get angry, and there are people out there who I call idiots. I'm mad at them, yes. I think they're stupid, yes. I do not think that they are limited to be just that. It saddens me that their current potential is wasted, and that's why oftentimes those who I try to avoid. But that's not what we're limited to here. We are limited to what we can create, and our minds can imagine the infinite. So what are we limited to? The sky? No, we broke that barrier. Space? We are in there now. The solar system? We've got a probe that's going to exit the oil clouds in a couple decades. It's already out there. We are breaching every boundary we set forth. We say we're going to die. Y2K, 2012. These are barriers that we keep shattering our expectations, and we cannot let them win. We fight. We are class 0.7 on the Kardashev scale. That means we have not controlled our planet. When we hit type 2, we collect enough power to go all of the power of our sun and our solar system. That's type 2. We are several centuries away from that. If we can contain ourselves from killing ourselves until that point, we will not die. Nothing known to mankind, or even theorized by mankind by now, can wipe out a class 2 civilization on the Kardashev. Too widespread, too much power. It would be impossible. We just have to hit this point, and we can't kill ourselves. We get past the next planet, and then we would have to try to kill ourselves. We don't need to die. Memorize this phrase. After this point, one simple phrase. We don't need to die. No one has to die. Ever. This is dragging on. I'm going to skip the dubstep in this song, because I gotta keep this one modeling. So,